In this module, you will learn how to assess the availability and quality of existing geospatial data in the OSM platform. It is always best to have existing base map data before going into the field. Even if you only have the street network, it will be easier to orient yourself and add additional features using recognizable landmarks and road intersections for reference. When assessing existing resources, it's important to start with some simple questions. Is there existing OSM data for your study area? What is the quality of this existing data? What is the quality and timestamp of the imagery that is available in OSM? And is there the possibility of pre-existing external data for import? Let's log on to OSM and look at a hypothetical study area to see what kind of map data we might inherit when we embark on our project. In this area, it looks like the roads have already been filled in, so we can look at the quality of the existing trace work and see if significant validation will be required for the geometry. Improving the quality of feature geometry in OSM is just as important as adding new data, so always strive to improve on content in the area in which you are mapping. In this area, it seems like there are some existing buildings, but plenty that still need to be captured. Some of the existing buildings are of good quality, but others will need to be refined and squared. Fixing existing data can often take as much time as creating new data, and sometimes even longer. There are several different options for imagery available for most areas in OSM. Some of the most common are Bing, Digital Globe Standard, Digital Globe Premium, Mapbox, and ESRI. In some cases, the imagery available under each will be quite similar. You should always verify which image source existing data was traced from, if at all possible, and decide which is the best option for your team going forward and stick with that. You should check your entire work area for cloud cover and also the timestamp of the imagery if it's available. Desktop data capture isn't just about capturing geometry. We should always check to make sure that the tagging applied by the previous mappers makes sense for a mapped feature. Sometimes this is difficult to verify from imagery alone and will take fieldwork to validate fully, but there are often obvious misclassifications like the one we see here. This road would be more appropriately tagged as residential like the others in the network, not as a primary. Remember that OSM has been running for over 10 years with many collaborators. If you encounter existing data in your project area, it's important to check the names of the contributors and the extent of tagging associated with the features. It is often obvious if a remote mapper contributed to editing the map, as the tags will be restricted to building equals yes and road equal highway or something similarly generic. Take care when editing or amending detailed tag content, as it could indicate the data was collected by a local mapper or a team that performed fieldwork. If you do not have conclusive information to justify changing the data, do not make the change. If unsure, you could reach out to the most active mappers in the area through their usernames to let them know that you're working in the area, and there may be an opportunity to get history on old projects or to collaborate going forward. It's easy to identify existing mappers in a given area. To reach out to these mappers, just click on their username and send them a note. If it takes about 30 seconds to draw the geometry of a building, then it would take approximately 40 hours to draw 5,000 buildings, which is a week of someone's time. Evaluating the potential workload for the mapping team is an important component of this stage, as delays in the first round of tracing can delay the start of fieldwork. Remember, If fixing existing infrastructure is a legitimate concern for your area, it will take about as much time to fix as it does to add new, and you must take this into consideration. Estimate the size of a sample grid cell in your area and the number of buildings that need to be traced within it. This will give you an approximate idea of how many people it will take to map it and how much time that will take. Now that you have had the chance to look at the existing mapping in OSM, you can start to plan for the desktop mapping component of the exercise. Here's a review of what we looked at. Is there data available for import? Are the existing imagery resources adequate for tracing? And how much time do you estimate desktop mapping will take?